Most of what you think you know about horses are misconceptions passed down from stable to stable. That's a strong start because the science on this is clear. These facts have been passed down from master to apprentice. They've been written in books. Everyone repeats them by heart. Then someone comes along and puts them to the test, and most of them don't hold up. Welcome to What Your Horse Knows. Today, we'll debunk 7 of these myths one by one. A few will really surprise you. One in particular will likely make you question a habit you've been practicing for years. These aren't things made up with malicious intent. Most of them once seemed reasonable. Some were based on old research. Others simply spread from barn to barn. But science hasn't stood still. And one of them, number 3 on the list, directly concerns your horse's health. If you're ready, let's get started. The first common misconception: horses are thought to be stupid. Everyone has heard this. Horses are beautiful. They're strong, but they aren't smart. That's what they say. Science, however, tells a completely different story. Researchers put horses through reward-based learning tests, distinguishing symbols, choosing the correct one, and earning a reward. The results far exceeded expectations. The horses didn't just learn, they figured out the pattern behind learning. When presented with a new symbol, they already had the logic down. Then there's the matter of doors. Horses can figure out locked doors, the latch, the hinge, the carabiner, and even a key lock. No one teaches them. They figure it out on their own. Picture the scene in your mind. He's standing in the stall. He's looking at the door. He's examining the mechanism. He's testing it with his lip. It doesn't work. He waits for a while. Then he tries again. One morning, you walk into the barn. The door is wide open. The horse is waiting for you in the hallway in front of the feed room. This isn't stupidity. It's problem solving. What's more, it doesn't stop at its own door. Some horses even open their neighbor's sliding door. Once a horse learns this trick, it never forgets it. You can change the lock. It'll figure out the new one within a week because it hadn't memorized that lock. It had grasped the logic behind the lock. This isn't memorization. It's called generalization. And generalization is one of the most fundamental measures of intelligence. So why do we call them stupid? Because we're asking the wrong question from the very beginning. We're comparing a horse to a dog. But dogs evolved to work alongside us. They wait for commands. They seek approval. Horses never followed that path. Horses evolved to run away. Different job, different intelligence. A horse's intelligence isn't about understanding commands. It's about reading the environment. And it does this far better than you do. Think of a herd of mustangs roaming freely in the west. Which way is the water? Which valley is safe? Where is the storm coming from? Which slope is prone to landslides? They didn't learn any of this in school, yet they know it. That intelligence still resides within the horse in your stable. It's just now being wasted on latching barn doors. Keep this in mind. A horse isn't stupid. It's just not measured by the same standards you use. The next myth is where this ability to read is most often misinterpreted. Moving on to the second one: if its ears are laid back, it's angry. This is the most common misinterpretation in the stable. The moment a horse's ears lie back, everyone takes a step back. He's getting angry, they say. Sometimes they're right, but most of the time they're not. A horse's ears are like its antennas. They tell you not where the horse is looking, but where it's listening. A horse's ears can rotate nearly 180 degrees. What's more, each one works independently. While one is listening to you, the other can track a sound coming from behind. So a horse can listen to 2 different places at the same time. You can't do that. Picture this scene. You're in the saddle. Its ears are turned back. Is it angry? No, it's listening to you. You're behind it. The sound is coming from behind. Your weight is shifting backward. The ears turn that way too. Actually, this is good news. The horse is focusing its attention on you. The look of genuine anger is completely different. The ears don't just stay back. They press against the head, almost becoming invisible. Other signs accompany this. The neck stiffens. The nostrils flare. The gaze hardens. The tail swishes stiffly. Don't get hung up on a single sign. Look at the whole picture. There's also the opposite. When people see both ears forward, everyone relaxes. Look, it's happy, they say. That's not always the case. If both ears are locked forward at the same time, the horse may be focused on something ahead. Could be curiosity. Could also be a state of alert readiness. Look at this chart. Ears forward and neck raised, muscles tense, breathing rapid. This isn't happiness. This is alarm. A relaxed horse stands completely differently. Its ears are loose. They frequently change direction. Sometimes they droop to the side. The lower lip sags. Tension holds it still. Relaxation sets it free. The difference is subtle, but it's real. Once you learn this, there's no turning back. Someone will say, "Look, he's getting angry." You'll look. The horse will just be listening. Most likely, he'll be listening to you too. There's a price to pay for misreading this. When a horse turns its ear to listen and someone scolds it, it learns a lesson. Paying attention is met with punishment, and over time, it begins to hide its attention. Then people say, "This horse is out of it. The ear isn't a gauge of anger. It's a compass for attention. And if a horse can learn to hide its attention, that's not the only thing it hides. Third on the list is the belief I mentioned at the beginning. If it were in pain, it would show it. This is the most dangerous belief on the list. A horse is a prey animal. For millions of years, showing weakness was equivalent to death. Those left behind by the herd were caught. The lame were singled out. The slow were singled out. That's why horses hide their pain. Not just from strangers. From you too. Even a horse in severe pain might try to look normal. It eats its feed. It walks. Comes to the door. But something is wrong inside. Perhaps it doesn't let its guard down even around the person it trusts the most. So how will you notice? From the little things. Tension in the facial muscles. Lines appearing around the eyes. Ears tilting slightly to the side. Nostrils flaring. The lower lip drooping or tensing. These aren't dramatic signs. They don't scream. They whisper. Then there's the behavioral aspect. The frequency with which the horse approaches the feed trough changes. Its posture changes. The leg on which it shifts its weight changes. It moves toward the edge of the herd. None of these on their own counts as evidence. But when they start to pile up, they take on meaning. This is exactly why veterinarians have developed pain scales that assess facial expressions. Because horses don't speak. Moreover, most of the time they don't even limp. Those scales measure precisely these small details: eye narrowing, ear position, nasal tension, and the state of the jaw muscles. So the details you might dismiss as insignificant are processed as data at the clinic. You know your horse best. You know how it normally carries itself. You're also the first to notice even the slightest deviation. You just need to know where to look. Pain is often brushed off as just its temperament. A horse gets fussy when being saddled. That's just his personality, they say. He stumbles when being mounted. He's lazy, they say. He refuses to be ridden. He's stubborn, they say. Sometimes it really is just his personality. But most of the time, it isn't. If his behavior has changed suddenly, the first thing that should come to mind is pain. If a calm horse becomes skittish one morning, it's trying to tell you something. And here's the thing: the horse isn't lying to you. It's simply acting on what its ancestors passed down to it. Without your attention, these important signals can go unnoticed. Pain doesn't scream. It whispers. It's up to you to listen. This third point shocks a lot of people. Have you ever thought it was just temper, only to later discover it was pain? Share your thoughts in the comments. The next myth is less dangerous, but I think that's where the most injustice occurs. Now, the fourth common misconception: all horses are the same. No one says this out loud, but it's ingrained in what we do. We apply the same training program to every horse, with the same approach, with the same expectations, on the same schedule. Then some horses are labeled problem horses. Science, however, paints a different picture. Horses have measurable personality traits. What's more, these traits remain consistent throughout their lives. These are similar to the extroversion and neuroticism factors found in human personality tests. In other words, they aren't just random quirks. They're a measurable structure. If you know a horse, you know only that horse. Some horses are naturally curious. Leave a new bucket in the pasture, and they'll be the first to arrive. They'll sniff it. They'll tip it over. They'll dive right in. Some are naturally cautious. They'll wait 5 minutes for the same bucket. They'll eye it from a distance. Then they'll approach slowly. Both are normal. Neither is a flaw that needs to be corrected. And here's the critical part: these traits don't change over the years. A foal that's cautious at 3 years old will still be cautious at 15. Training can help them relax. They can gain confidence, but their character will remain the same. A curious horse thrives in new environments, crowds, noise, a new trail. It's no problem for them. In fact, they enjoy it. A cautious horse, on the other hand, will be drained in the same environment, but in a familiar routine, it excels. The same arena, the same task, the same sequence. There, it's a reliable partner. If you force the same task on both of them, you're bound to put a strain on one of them. And that horse isn't problematic. It's just in the wrong job. The answer to the question, why isn't my horse like the others, is that simple. Because he's not like the others anyway. Maybe your horse is struggling not because he doesn't follow the program in the book, but because that program wasn't written with him in mind. Actually, you've been through the same thing. If you've ever worked at a job that didn't suit you, the problem wasn't with you. It was a matter of fit. The same goes for your horse. So don't try to make your horse fit the program. Make the program fit your horse. Just like personality, rest doesn't work the same way for every horse. Mistake number 5: horses sleep standing up. That's half true. And that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. Yes, horses can sleep standing up. Thanks to the locking mechanism in their legs, they can rest without falling over. But this is a light sleep, a superficial form of rest. True sleep doesn't happen while standing. To enter REM sleep, a horse needs to lie down. Its muscles need to relax. And it does this under one condition only: when it feels safe. You can can see this with your own eyes in a herd. Some lie down, some stand guard, then they switch places. No one is left defenseless at the same time. It's a pattern that's been in place for thousands of years. Now go back to your own stable. Is your horse lying down? How often? For how many minutes? Who's with it? Most owners don't know the answers to these questions because horses usually lie down at night, and at night no one is there. With foals, the picture is clearer. A newborn foal spends most of the day lying down. Its mother stands watch by its side. That foal can lie down because its mother is there. Someone else is standing guard. An adult horse needs the same thing too, just not as much. Then there's the physical aspect. If a horse can't find a place to lie down, it won't lie down. If the stall is too narrow, if the floor is hard, if the bedding is too thin, if its neighbor is restless, all of these disrupt sleep, and a horse won't tell you that. If a horse hasn't lain down for weeks, it's not because it's not resting. It's a safety or pain issue. Horses that can't get REM sleep start to break down. Their reaction times change. They get irritable quickly. Some collapse while standing in the middle of the day, and most owners don't even realize it. So if you see your horse lying down, it's not laziness. It's a compliment. It means it trusts you and that space. There's an easy way to check. Look in the stall in the morning. Are there any lying down marks on the bedding? Is there dust or shavings on its side? Is there hay stuck in its mane? Small clues, but they tell you what happened throughout the night. And most people walk right past these signs every morning without a second glance. Sleep isn't completed while standing. It's completed on the ground. So, next to whom does a horse feel safe? The answer isn't where most people think it is. The next misconception, number 6, there's an alpha in the herd. You come across this belief everywhere, in training books, in courses, in videos. Be the alpha. Let the horses follow you. Here's the problem. Herds don't work that way. Research shows that the hierarchy in horse herds isn't a straight ladder. Dominance relationships can form in a triangular pattern. A is dominant over B, B is dominant over C, but C can be dominant over A. In other words, there isn't a single king at the top. There's a network. The horse that leads the herd isn't usually the toughest one. The horse leading the way to water is usually the one that knows the route by heart. You see this very clearly in free-roaming Mustang herds. The horse that leads the herd for kilometers isn't the most aggressive one. It's the most experienced one. So where did this alpha idea come from? Largely from observing animals kept in confined spaces. Cram a group into a small paddock. Pile the feed in a single spot. Conflict escalates. It's easy to tell who's chasing whom. Then that scenario is presented as the natural order. Yet in open terrain, things play out very differently. There's plenty of room to escape. The feed is scattered. Horses can spread out. There's no need for conflict at all. So part of what we saw wasn't the nature of the horse. It was the confinement of the space. Leadership is one thing. Dominance is another. One is built on knowledge, the other on power. So what does this tell you? The goal of establishing dominance in your relationship with your horse is missing the mark. Your horse doesn't trust you because you're forcing it. Trusts you because you're predictable. If you go out and come back at the same time every day. If you always approach it from the same angle. If your voice isn't soft one day and harsh the next. That's what your horse picks up on. A leader isn't the one who's harsh. A leader is the one who's consistent. You can try this with the horses in your own pasture. Pick out the horse that chases the most. Then, when the herd moves, see which one takes the lead. Most of the time, it won't be the same horse. Just one observation, and the alpha myth will end right there for you. Don't try to assert dominance. Be predictable. So, if an animal can read your consistency, what else is it reading? And last but not least, number 7, horses don't know what you're feeling. This is the biggest misconception on the list, and the one with the strongest evidence. Horses can distinguish between an angry face and a happy face in a photograph. They don't just distinguish between them, they respond. When they see an angry face, their heart rates rise. From a still photograph, from a motionless piece of paper. And there's more. Horses can distinguish between the sense of fear and happiness emitted by the human body. Your scent has already made its way inside long before you open the barn door. You might be smiling. You might be keeping your voice steady. You might be saying, "I'm doing well today. Nothing has changed." Your body is saying something entirely different, and the horse reads that language. Here's the most striking part. Over time, a human's and a horse's heart rates can synchronize. If you calm down, so does the horse. If you tense up, so does the horse. So it's not just an observational relationship between you two. There's also a physical connection. If you've had a bad day and walk into the stable, you're not the only one carrying that day with you. So where does this ability come from? Again, from being a prey animal. For a prey animal, deciphering the intentions of the one facing it is a matter of survival. Is the approaching thing a threat correct or not. The one who misreads it dies. This is a skill honed over millions of years. You, on the other hand, have only been standing opposite it for a mere few thousand years. The next time you open the barn door, think again about who's reading whom. There's also a small caveat here. This doesn't mean the horse understands your emotions, nor does it mean it knows you're sad. What it's picking up on is a situation. Are you tense or relaxed? Is there a threat in the environment or not? But the result comes down to the same thing. No matter what comes out of your mouth, it's watching your body. You can try this today. The ear test. Go stand next to your horse. Don't do anything. Just stand there and watch for 10 minutes. Watch its ears. Which way are they turned? How often do they shift? What happens when you speak? When a sound comes from behind you, take notes. Keep it simple. Just saying, right ear toward me, left ear toward the door is enough. Repeat this for 3 days in a row, at the same time each day if possible. On the third day, you'll notice something. The ears aren't moving randomly. There's a pattern, and that pattern gives you a map of your horse's attention. Add this too. How many seconds does its attention stay on you? Then where does it turn? There's a second test as well. This one is even simpler. Enter the stable in 2 different moods. One day, calm and unhurried. The next time, tired and tense. Keep everything else the same. Same time, same phrases, same route. Then compare the two. How many steps later did it turn toward you? What did its ears do? Did it come closer or did it stay put? Most people are surprised when they see the difference, because the difference is usually very obvious. People spend years with their horses, and they never even try this once. While you're trying to read it, it has already read you. Today, we've turned 7 beliefs on their head. But that's not the real question. What do you get wrong about your horse? The real question is, what does your horse know about you that's true? Because it reads you every day. Your scent, your voice, your gait, how hurriedly you enter through the stable door, how patient you are. It doesn't take notes, but it takes it all in. Perhaps the most surprising thing about this video isn't the 7 things we got wrong about him. Perhaps it's that he's almost never wrong about us. Which one did you believe the most? Write it in the comments. Let's see which one stands out. We'll keep figuring out what your horse is telling you every day. If you subscribe, you won't miss a single one.